Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to your weather forecast. My name is Mr. G and this is Elite Weather. Happy Friday. I hope you guys are having a great day and we're going to have a great weekend as well. So we got a weather forecast that I prepared for you guys today. We're going to make a quick video where we'll try to be as fast as possible and cover all of the material that we have to cover. But we do have some snow that's going to be dropping down across the parts of the Great Lakes tonight. So Wisconsin, maybe northern Illinois and with Indiana could see a few snow showers. Going to be relatively light stuff as we have a sharp cold front dropping down out of Canada that is making things significantly colder than what we saw yesterday, and so definitely a significant drop in those temperatures across the upper Midwest and in the Great Lakes. So let's take a look at the first map. This is our current conditions across the country. There's that light snow across the upper Midwest and into the Great Lakes today. And there's that rain from our departing storm system along the I-95 corridor on the East Coast. So we got some showers and storms down here across Florida, and where we got those showers and storms going up into the mid-Atlantic as well. So Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, and through Georgia, we're seeing some showers and storms, and we got some more showers here through parts of Appalachia and the Ohio Valley, where we're seeing some scattered showers. For the most part, everybody else across the country is dry out toward the west to the Pacific Ocean. Not much to worry about there. Comfortable, nice temperatures. Dry weather for the most part. A welcome break for you folks out on the West Coast. But let's take a look at our next map. This is our current temperatures. And we're seeing how much colder it is across the upper Midwest. We're seeing those 20s and teens out there across the upper Midwest and into the northern plains there. So the Dakotas, northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, the upper peninsula of Michigan. We're seeing those temperatures in the teens. 32 right here in Minneapolis when we were in the upper 40s yesterday. But we're seeing 15 to 16 degrees colder than we saw yesterday. Here's our departure from our 24-hour temperature change from yesterday, and you can see how much colder it is now across the Great Lakes in the upper Midwest, where it's as much as 16 to 17 degrees colder than it was yesterday. But we're seeing a nice warm-up, a brief warm-up across the east as well, because this pool of cold air is going to swing off in the southeastern direction. So we're going to see that pocket of cold air and that light snow move over into the northeast and the mid-Atlantic. But that's going to be very brief because we have a nice warm-up coming up from the west. So nice area of high pressure out ahead of an advancing storm system that we're going to talk about how that storm system is going to affect the country in just a moment here. Here's a look at the dew points across the country. And this is where we're seeing that rainfall out toward the southeast. So we're looking at higher dew points, just about 60 degrees or lower. So we're seeing those dew points in the upper 50s here across the southeast. But we are seeing some dew points here a little bit lower as compared to what they were a couple of days ago when we had thunderstorms out throughout parts of the south and the Ohio Valley. We saw higher dew points, but now we're seeing those dew points drop because we're seeing those temperatures drop and that moisture sliding off toward the south and east. So a change coming there. Here's those winds as a result of that colder air dropping down out of Canada, and that colder air is heavier, and we have that colder air sliding down the Rockies, the leeward sides of the Rockies across the plains toward the Mississippi River Valley. So we're going to be seeing those winds howling out there around 35 to maybe even 40 miles an hour across the plains. Our typical windy spots across I-80 through Wyoming, and we're going to see I-70 across Colorado windy as well. So lots of winds across the plains and the Midwest as a result of that change in the temperature and that change in the barometric pressure from that higher pressure that we had across the east and the south to that lower pressure dropping down out of Canada behind that advancing cold front. Even though it's relatively dry, but it's still changing the direction of those winds and those temperatures and that air pressure. So again, there's going to be that change that's going to lead to those winds. Here is the rainfall we've had over the last 24 hours across the the Ohio Valley and into the Northeast, and then through parts of the Mid-South as well, we've had a lot of rainfall. Some areas, isolated spots, are picking up a couple of inches of rain, but for the most part, everybody has had less than an inch of rain. Some areas have had on average about an inch. So soaking rain for some of you folks, some light rain for some of y'all. Some of y'all had some severe thunderstorms and some wind damage out there. So again, but we're going to start to see things settle down across the east for a while until you get to the maybe about Tuesday or Wednesday next week, where we have that cross-country storm that could bring some severe weather through this same region next week that we're seeing this rain here today. So here's a look at the potential for the snow across the upper Midwest and in the Great Lakes and into the Ohio Valley once again. But we're going to see snow instead of rain this time because of that cold air that's dropping down out of Canada along that relatively dry front. But we are going to have enough moisture to squeeze out about an inch of snow for a wide swath here across the Ohio Valley and into the Great Lakes. So Wisconsin, northern Illinois, maybe southern Michigan, northern Indiana, through central Ohio, West Virginia, parts of Kentucky over the mountains might see a little bit of snow, but we're talking about an inch or less. Some folks might see 1 to 3 here in the gray, but for the most part, everybody's going to see about an inch of snow. And we are very far from average from snowfall. It's a shame. A lot of places are about, we're more than 50%. We're about 25% of average, so we have a long way to go. We have only had maybe 8 or 9 inches of snow this year when we should have about 51 inches of snow here in the Twin Cities. It's been very dry as far as the snowfall in the Northeast, in the Great Lakes, and the upper Midwest. Here is what we're going to be seeing as far as your weather forecast across the east for the remainder of the day today. Temperatures in the 60s in the mid-Atlantic, upper 50s to low to mid-60s, but we're going to see rain. Some of that rain might be a little bit heavy, but we're going to see that storm system making its way up toward the Northeast, and it's going to bring with it that rainfall and maybe a touch of snow in a few isolated spots. But this is going to be too warm for snow mostly, so we're seeing mostly rain from this system. And any snowfall that we see, and this is going to be through the day on Saturday, a lot of this is going to come from that weak system coming out of the Great Lakes, and we're going to see that less than an inch of snow over Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire, and maybe parts of upstate New York, way up there along the St. Lawrence River Valley and the Canadian border. Might we see a few snowflakes, but it's going to be very, very light, maybe an inch or less. Okay, so light rain again across the southeast, and this is going to be through the remainder of the day today, and we're going to be seeing less than a half inch of rain for the most part. Some areas over like maybe near Hilton's Head, North Carolina there might get close to an inch, but for the most part, everybody's going to be seeing a half inch or less of rain across the southeast and the mid-Atlantic today. And here is that late February storm we're going to talk about real quick. There's a lot of uncertainty in the maps, but we do know there's going to be a lot of moisture, a lot of warm air. We're going to see a lot of severe weather. The question is how much snow, where the snow is going to set up. I know it's going to snow northern Minnesota and the Dakotas, back to Montana and Wyoming, but how close to the Twin Cities will the snow get is still up for debate. I'm going to put my money on maybe 1 to 3 inches of snow across the Twin Cities at the very tail end of the system before it departs the upper Midwest, heads across the Great Lakes. I think we could get a glancing blow of some snow is what I think that will happen. This is actually a Colorado low, which is typically for what we see at this time of the year. And in March, as we head through the March, we typically see some rather large snowstorms. We call it the March snowstorms. But this is kind of the same track that a lot of those storms take. And typically these storms for us are good for at least a foot of snow, but this is going to come into question because we haven't seen much snow, and the temperatures are going to be borderline as well. So we'll let it get closer, let the models kind of finagle it, and fine tune it a little bit more and see what we're going to see exactly as we get closer to Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, and see where the snow actually sets up. So here we are. I'm going to see that beneficial snow across the Rockies Sunday through Thursday with that big storm system. That cold air is going to be cold enough for a lot of snow over the Rockies, and it could translate to a lot of snow at the last minute here across the upper Midwest. That's highly possible too, even though it's shaky because of the fact that we've seen so little snow, and now we could see the potential for a dumping of snow possibly. That could come together at the last minute, but it's still up in the air, so I'm not going to count that yet until it gets closer. But we're going to see that warm, moist air coming up from the south off the Gulf of Mexico. That's going to fuel big thunderstorms across the upper Midwest and the Ohio Valley, and even down into the south next weekend in the southern plains. So get ready for that. We're definitely going to see the severe weather. We're going to see tornadoes, hail, damaging winds, and heavy rain. And we're going to be seeing that all the way in from Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday. We're going to see that Gulf moisture coming up off of the Gulf, across up into the Ohio Valley, up to the Lake Ontario, Lake Erie, and Lake Huron, Lake Michigan. So we're going to see those showers and thunderstorms across much of the eastern United States next week. Here's that potential for severe weather that we're going to see on Tuesday across the upper Midwest. This is very unusual. This we don't typically see until June. This is typically in June, not in February or in early March, that we see severe thunderstorms and a significant threat for severe weather all the way up to St. Louis, Indianapolis, and Chicago and Milwaukee can see that potential for severe weather, as well as down through Little Rock, Texarkana, parts of Oklahoma, and Tulsa. We could see some significant severe weather on Tuesday. Same thing for Wednesday. The severe weather continues over the Ohio Valley. We're going to see that severe weather through Kentucky, Tennessee, down through the Deep South and the southern the southern Mississippi River Valley as well, where we can see the potential for a pretty significant outbreak of severe weather. Again, this is going to need to be monitored and fine-tuned as well, because not all of the details are set yet. And here is a look at our cross-country storm as we head for Sunday and Thursday. And we're going to be seeing that storm system moving, setting up that low pressure center there across the upper Midwest near Minnesota. And that brings into question, because the low will be so close, that deformation band may be shoved further to the north and west. And that's where the heavier snow is going to fall over north central Minnesota through South Dakota and Nebraska. I think the heaviest snow is going to fall to the north and west of the Twin Cities, because that low is so close. Now, if the low pressure shifts further south and east, then we can see that snow band shift further to the south and include the Twin Cities. But right now, it looks like that heavier snow band is going to be to the north and west of us, and we could get a glancing blow of snow on the south end of that band. So it's a lot of things still in question, and I'm still suspecting. I'm suspecting that it might shift a little bit further to the south and east, and maybe, hopefully, we'll see that snow band get closer or include the Twin Cities. So again, here's your forecast for the remainder of this afternoon. Those showers along the Gulf over Florida and over the southeast, the Carolinas and Virginia, and along the east coast there. Those are going to be pulling away through the remainder of the afternoon. Then those snow showers here across the Great Lakes and into parts of the upper Midwest, into Wisconsin mostly, and Chicago, Illinois, and Michigan. We're going to be seeing that, but dry weather out toward the western United States and very warm temperatures as well. But tonight we're going to see that snow expand across the upper Midwest and the southern Great Lakes there. So we're going to see that snow into Michigan. We're going to see snow into southern Wisconsin. We're talking like Milwaukee, maybe Madison. Snow here in northern Illinois, Chicago. We're going to see rain too, because that frontal boundary is going to be right in here. So we're going to see that start off as rain and then change over to snow, depending on how that front drops further to the south. So depending on the positioning exactly of where that front stalls is where we can see that rain and change over to snow. And then tomorrow morning, when you wake up in the morning, that Midwest, that Great Lakes system is going to be down across the Appalachian Mountains toward the mid-Atlantic. So it's going to be dropping down to West Virginia, Kentucky, North Carolina, and Virginia. So we're going to see that area of snow and some rain down there. And then, but for the most part, the rest of the country, it's going to have a nice dry day for your Saturday. Calm conditions. Maybe a little bit breezy across the plains and the upper plains. So North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Wyoming might be a little bit breezy over the plains. We might see a few snow showers up across the northern Rockies, like the Glacier Park in Montana, maybe northern Idaho, and parts of Washington as well. We may see some showers over Puget Sound and into British Columbia. Might be some showers as well. We have a big storm off the coast of California that's going to be dropping to the south and hang out over there for the next several days. And we'll have to see where that's called a cutoff flow because it's detached from the main upper level flow. So they kind of just meander around and get influenced by the main direction that the wind is blowing around them. So we'll see where this thing wanders off to and if it brings any more significant amounts of rainfall into California like next week sometime. Alright, so that'll do it for today's video. My name is Mr. G. I got homework to do. So thank you for watching today. Leave your likes, comments, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching today's video. I will see you guys all tomorrow evening because I have a lot to do in the morning. Bye-bye.